everyone, and welcome to the 20th episode of the DrunkFriend podcast. As always, we're your hosts. I'm Travis from NestFriend. That's Alex from SNES Drunk. And speaking of SNES Drunk, he's a little SNES Drunk last week when we talked to Dan from Console Wars about music.
Hey, don't bring that up. That's a sensitive subject. I'm just kidding.
We had fun, though.
Yeah, of course. We always have fun with Dan.
Hell yeah, man. Dan's awesome. No better guest for some 90s music.
Of course.
Yeah, man. It was good. It was good. We talked about Metallica. We talked about, Soundgarden and Nirvana again. I mean, we could do that. We could have that episode. We could do that 40 times. This podcast could just be about 4 bands. And it would have new content each week. But we won't belabor 90s music much further. But Alex, how have you been?
I think I'm okay. I think I'm doing okay. I'm starting to run more, and
What?
I think that's mostly your fault.
I don't think it's my fault now.
It might be your fault because you invited me to your. I won't say the name of it, but it's your Discord chat.
It's the Polykill Discord. You can.
Okay.
It's Patreon gated though. We like to keep out the.
It's Patreon gated, but okay. Well, I'll say it then. It's the Polykill Discord. Mm-hmm. It is Patreon gated, but you've got some buddies there, and they're all hardcore into running, and sprinting, and jogging. And walking and doing all those things, and I'm starting to get the bug. I got an app for all that stuff, and I ran twice today.
What the fuck?
Hokey smokes! I am winded right now. But the thing is I'm really enjoying it, and you know what makes me enjoy it is listening to like video game music while I'm jogging and walking and stuff. It makes me feel like what I'm doing is really important.
You feel like you're about to just take on the world, huh?
Like the Nier Automata soundtrack is unbelievable for that. It's just so perfect. Like it's just you got vocals, you've got the it sounds like Latin lyric. I think Nier Automata has like its own language almost or something like that.
Okay. I didn't know that.
It's something goofy like that, but it's yeah, it sounds like it's Latin or something like that. So it's really funny because it's like here I am walking and then like getting ready for my big jog for my 2-minute interval jog, and it's like this woman like getting ready for her big crescendo, and I'm like I don't know what you're saying, lady, but I'm ready to go right now. Let's do this.
You take one step off the sidewalk and get railed by a car. But no, that's cool, man. I'm happy because the thing is, over in that channel in Polykill, it's called Get Fit.
Yes.
We're trying to live forever, and that's the whole thing. We're very we're very supportive of everyone's. As long as you hold yourself accountable, if you show us what you've done, it's like hell yeah, dude, way to do it. If you have questions, we try to help. Not that there are a few people in there that are what I would consider nearly fitness experts. They don't really post their stuff as much, but they are always chiming in, giving the support, and that's kind of cool. I mean, I think I'm pretty lucky to have that group of friends, and I'm so glad you're able to use it, man. That's really cool, and hopefully you stick with it.
I'm thankful too because I hate running. I hate running more than life itself. It's awful. I don't have a runner's body. I have a walker's body. I have a Barca lounger's body. I have a video gamer's body. But
I have a crochet or a croquet body.
I have a badminton body. I don't know. But I am not a runner at all. But I've always admired people that are able to just like say like I don't know. I just admire people that can just go out and be like, hey, I'm gonna run right now. It's just like, I wish I could do that. And it's like, well, why don't you do that? Go do that right now. So I did.
And you did it. You did it twice today. That's incredible. And it's not like you've been running for 2 months and then today was your first 2 a day. You've been, like a week, and you already gotten the bug to where you're out there twice. So that's awesome.
I think my first day was Monday last week, and we're recording. No, it was longer than that ago, but it was like 10 days ago. And that was my first day, and that first day is not easy. That first day is not fun. You're going to feel awful after. And that's fine. It's okay to feel awful because if you feel awful, that means you're making progress.
Hell yeah. It means you're still alive. So
yeah, it means And
good.
even the second and third and fourth times, if you feel awful, that means you're getting better. You're just going to feel less awful as you keep doing it. So,
I mean, they talk about that runner's high, and that
Yeah.
it's different for everyone. But did you feel?
Yeah.
I mean, you feel winded at the end, and you probably want to crawl into a ditch and just hope the rains come. But do you kind of feel like, hey, I accomplished something. That was awesome. I'm so glad I did that. Is that true
now
for you?
I do, yeah. This past run I did tonight, no, because I just wanted to be like a high school type idiot and just be like, I want to run. I want to see if I can run as fast as I can and still get to a mile. And the answer was no. And I'm 38, and that's not possible anymore. I just wanted to see, like, there's something like freeing about just being like, I'm gonna step outside and just run as fast as I can. Like,
Yeah.
it's
Who
nice
does that?
being-
Literally, just you did that, and then I
Yes.
think 8-year-old boys do that. So that is liberating.
It really is. It feels good, and it sounds stupid to the layman. It really does. But like, just stepping outside your house and just being like, I'm just gonna run as fast as I can right now. Just go.
The
and
neighbors are
see
calling the cops. They're like, something's up. Something's up with the Nintendo man that lives across the street. He looks very scared, and he's running very fast.
I
Well,
think
he's
he's
running
chasing
hard.
the TurboGrafx, man. I don't know what's going on. But yeah, no, I love that. I love the idea of just that kind of freedom of just like stepping outside your house and just like, I'm gonna run right now. I'm gonna go as fast as I can. Let's go. Let's get hyped up. Let's loosen everything up. Let's stretch, and then let's just freaking run and
Hell
see
yeah.
how far we get. And it turns out it wasn't that far.
That's all right,
But
man. That's all right.
But that's okay. That's the thing. That's the thing. It's okay if it's not that far, because it's progress. It's if you don't feel comfortable, if you feel bad afterwards, it just means you're building towards your next run. And so that's what I've learned is like and I've also learned form, like, don't lean forward and like run on the balls of your feet like
What are you, Naruto?
Like you're Usain Bolt or whatever that guy's name is. Like, don't run like that, because you're gonna run out of breath in like 2 seconds. You gotta learn to you gotta learn to relax your arms, your shoulders. You gotta run on the middle of your feet. And you really need to learn form, and you got to learn your own body. And that's kind of what I'm learning through this whole experience. So thanks for asking me about that, because I like talking about it, because it's a new experience for me. So I really like that. And that's something that you have learned yourself. Is that something you can relate to back when you first started?
To a degree. I've always been like a little bit active. I've never gone long without doing some runs, but I've always been like extreme of both. Like, I'll get really into running, or I'll get really into just not doing shit for weeks. And so this past year I was like, and it's, I can credit Musty Hobbit for this. He was on the show a few episodes back. He said, he randomly one day he took a picture of something that he had in his office, and he goes, oh, by the way, this is a thing that a chart that I filled out the year that I ran 500 miles. I was like, you did what? He's like, yeah, I ran 500 miles in 1 year. And I was like, are you stupid? But the reason I wasn't like confused by it because he's a 6'7" giant man. I'm like,
whoa,
giant people don't run.
I didn't know that. Okay, fun fact: that dude is 6'7". He should be starting center for the Orlando Magic, I guess.
He's tall. I don't know if it's 6'7". It's between 6'5" and 6'7" for sure.
Wow.
But Musty Hobbit's kind of a funny name for him because he's like 9 hobbits on top of each other's shoulders. But I'm like, big people don't like to run. What are you doing out there running?
I know, right?
They like air conditioning and beer. What are you doing? So I was like, if you can do it, and not saying if Musty can do it, I can do it. But I'm like, if my buddy Musty is capable of doing this, why don't I try something like this? So I set out to do that. I said, I'm going to run 500 miles in a year because I want to be like Musty. And I was able to do that this past year. And I also want to shout out my co-host from Polykill, Jake, who just bust ass, man. That guy's running like 150 miles a month. He's, 8 miles a day almost. It's incredible. So
guy's amazing. I see his updates. He's doing like 7.1, 7.4 miles in like just ridiculous numbers. Like,
yeah, and that's to say, like, the dude within the last 6 to 8 months was pushing 3 bills. He's not like an Olympian. He's just a dedicated dude trying to live forever. So
yeah,
It's a plug for the Polykill Discord. What can I say? What can I say? That's all we're doing here.
It's been such a boon for me because I'm incapable of being accountable for myself. I'm gonna just straight out say that. I despite the habits that I've gained from SNES Drunk, which is like the only thing I've ever been accountable for. The thing is that SNES Drunk is just writing and video production and computer desk stuff, and it's just like, all right, fine, that's easy.
I mean, yeah, you could do that during downtime during work, right? Like it's
exactly, yeah. No, I can do that. Like, you know, if there's nothing to do at work, I can just like, you know, take notes and organize my notes and all that sort of stuff, and edit audio and all that kind of stuff. But when it comes to like physical stuff, there's no fucking way that I can, especially when it comes to like exercise. Oh my god. No way. Like I'll go on the treadmill. We do have a treadmill. I got sick of the treadmill because I would go on it like once every, you know, just to walk, you know, once every week or something like that, and you know, fine, whatever. And it's just like, this is dumb.
It gets boring.
It gets boring.
Yeah,
and
I'm proud of you, dude. I think it's cool.
There's something to being outside, being around your neighborhood, and all that sort of stuff. And, you know, it's like, holy crap. One other thing that really surprised me that I just thought of right now was like, holy crap, I'm all the way over here. That's one thing that like I did not anticipate about this whole jogging thing. Is like, oh yeah, you travel distance when you run.
Oh yeah, that's a really good point. Like, I think that's the reason I don't like treadmills. I mean, I have some attentional deficit. That's not like me. I don't have like a diagnosis or anything, but like if I run on a treadmill, within minutes I'm like, I could be doing something way more fun than this. Mm-hmm. But if I run away from my car, if I run like 4 miles away from my car, I have to get back to my car. I have to. I cannot get home. So that's an impetus of actually running and running long distances. Like if I run all the way over here, I have to get back, or it's going to get dark. My wife's going to worry about me. You know, there's all of these factors. So yeah, I think running outside is a good thing if you can do it.
That's what happened earlier today when it was like 10:30 in the morning, and I realized where I was. I was like, oh crap, I gotta get home. I was like, where am I? I need to get home. Pearl's gonna wonder what the hell happened to me. I'm gonna turn up in a ditch or something. Jesus.
Yeah, man.
So cool, thank you for the Get Fit thing in Polykill has been tremendous. It's a huge inspiration for me personally. So I'm forever in your debt for that. So thank you for that. And everybody in there, whoever's listening, thank you. And I've expressed my thanks in text form a few times. Probably not enough times, but thank you if you're listening.
Yeah, man. I'm excited to see it to see what it turns out to be over time. It's always fun to see people.
Hopefully something substantial.
Yeah, and then you can start making shred drunk videos, or you're just showing off your are these abs worth grating cheese on today, and something like that. It could be fun. Hey, we had some recent videos come out. You're back in the game. You took that vacation. Now suddenly, hey, we got SNES Drunk videos in our feeds. What's going on? Is this guy back or not? So you started out with I think it was 13 worst soundtracks. So you took a break, and then you came back and tortured us with the worst music you could find. So what was your thinking there? Do you not like us, or?
Yeah, pretty much. It's the only thing I could think of to, do that, with. To be honest, that was a Patreon request. And not only was that a Patreon request, that was a Patreon request going way back, a long time, over a year.
Oh, geez.
And this dude had been, I think his name is Benjamin, and this dude was like, I really think that'd be worth it. And the more I kind of like delved into I think it was once I got to James Bond Jr., I was like, yeah.
That was awful. That was so bad.
Oh, my God. Yeah, no, that was an easy number one for me. But once I got to that, I was like, okay, I think this guy may be onto something, because there's some really bad music on the Super Nintendo. Now, people love lists. People love worst ofs. And people love music. So.
Hey, I got to ask, though, like, so, you always do. Oh, I guess I have two questions. One, why the number 13? That seems to be a mainstay in your list videos.
I'm a huge Dan Marino fan. No, I'm just kidding. I have no idea. I really have no idea.
It's just kind of different.
I wanted to do something a little. I don't like 10. I don't like 5, and I don't like 15. So why not 13, I guess.
It's kind of cool.
I don't know.
I think that 13 is about the number of Simpsons seasons that are palatable. So I think that makes sense for me.
Good call.
For those lists, and especially something like soundtracks, how much music, how much content do you vet for that list? Are you asking people that you know, like maybe your Patreon or your Discord, like, hey, do you guys have any suggestions? I'm sure you have a pretty good library. Certainly, not every game you play, you're not writing down like, well, that song I heard sucked. Maybe a future video idea. Like, how do you come up with a list that is what you feel to be pretty definitive?
The way it works for me is I usually have, I'll let you in on a little secret here. I have a SNES Drunk folder on my computer where I have a future folder, and the future folder is full of, how many files are in here right now?
It's just an icon with Doc's face on it.
There's 42 different there's 42 different notepad files in here where I'm just taking notes for future videos. And one of those was worst music. So I would just take note of just when I came across a game, I would just make note of it in that file. And it got to the point with that one where I think I got to like 9. And then I started like reaching out to other people and to other games and stuff like that, just like seeing like what other games have horrible music, I guess. That's where I got like Dragon View, and I didn't want to put Dragon View on there, but I did want to call attention to Dragon View because it's such a freaking good game. But the music is just like, come on, like you guys can do better than this. And same with some of the other games on there, like Super Krusty's Funhouse. It's like, I like this game. The music could be a lot better though. But that's where those come from. But no, it really is like an accumulation of stuff from just playing a whole bunch of stuff, and then just like, all right, what are my observations of this? Okay, it could be anything, and where does this categorize? I guess I have a very compartmentalized brain, I guess is how it works.
You do, I will say, and you always kind of talk it down that you have a bad memory. And I will say, I think actually you do have a bad short-term memory. There are conversations we've had several times in a row I don't think you're aware of, but when it comes
the same question over and over.
But when it comes to like, you know, certain things, specifically like gaming things, music, anything from the 90s. I mean, you have a...
Anything from the 90s.
Honestly, like you're like
Jose Maria Olazabal won the Masters in 1994 and 1999.
See, that's what I'm talking about. That's the shit.
Actually, no, I'm sorry, not 94, 93, because Bernard Longer won in 94.
See, and that's the kind of shit where only the people you just mentioned, they're the only other ones that remember that. That's how incredible your memory is. So that makes sense, and that's why I think SNES Drunk as a channel is special in that, I mean, obviously you put in the work. But the note-taking and the rigorous compartmentalization of all of these factors and thinking ahead to future videos, I wish I had done that from the beginning. Like, if I had thought, like, man, okay, I'm going to need, all right, let's think of some future video. I'm going to need bad music. I'm going to need good music. I'm going to need, you know, all of these things. And then I just have all of these you know, spreadsheets and columns of things to fill in as I went. I mean, I wish I had done that. Number one, I'm not that disciplined. I don't have a memory for, like... I couldn't hum a soundtrack of almost any game I've put on my channel at all. You know, maybe some of the really, really popular ones, but for the most part, no. And I remember like you talking about in one of the games in that video. I think it was, what is it called? Strike Force Gunner. Is that what the name of it is?
Strike Force Gunner STG. Yeah. Or it's Strike Gunner STG. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
It's level 6 of that game, and it's exactly as I say. It sounds like it's layered 10 times on top of each other.
It's weird, yeah. But you told me that just like off the cuff one day. We were just chatting, and you're like, "Oh yeah, level 6 of that game. The soundtrack's weird." Like, how the fuck does he remember that?
So I have it written down.
Sure, but like, I think that's sort of the thing. Like, I need to be, you know, where you were like, I need to run more like these guys. I'm like, I need to take better fucking notes. What am I doing? So, yeah, that's incredible. So I really enjoyed that video. I thought it was a funny one to come back on, though. You're like, I want to take a break, then I'm going to come back and torture you for 10
really
minutes.
Horrible music, yeah.
Yeah, but then you did Castlevania 2, which was great.
Oh, thanks. That's really nice of you to say.
Stay in your own fucking lane, but it was good.
Thanks. You know who the inspiration for that was Hungry Garaya, and she's one of my all-time favorites. She's a great Twitch streamer. She's like the Bob Ross of retro gaming,
no doubt.
She's no frills, just like simple. What I really like is that she doesn't do the Twitch stream typical thing with like the camera thing or any sort of like outline, you know what I mean, like the typical Twitch like template, I guess is what I mean. It's just the game. That's all it is. It's just the game with black borders. and if anybody tries to backseat game, she politely says, please do not
so
backseat.
Politely though. So polite.
Oh, she's the best. She's hilarious.
She's so good at no one really knows what she does for a living, I don't think. But if it is like mitigating, like if it's like a hostage negotiator, I believe it. She's very smooth. To test your short-term memory.
You remember that movie, The Negotiator, with Samuel L. Jackson back in the. Yep, that's her. That's her job.
Yeah, man.
Okay, I need you to put the bomb down now. Okay.
Oh, that was good. That was very good. To test your short-term memory, which episode was she on? Which number? Do you remember?
Which number?
I
couldn't tell you which number.
Oh, okay. All right. So you're not a robot.
She just finished Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, which was such a delight because oh my God, it got to the point where she was just dominating not Mr. Sandman. Who comes after that? Super Macho Man.
Oh, that guy's a dick.
Just crushing him over and over.
So
but she couldn't get past Mike Tyson. Like she just kept getting, and it took like 30 tries. I'm not even kidding you, like 30. Oh
yeah, that's
tries.
Low. That's still good.
So she just went back and forth, and she was crushing Super Macho Man like it was nothing. And she was just talking to chat like, all right, what should I do next time with Mr. Mike Tyson, and and she was just destroying. I'm just like, how are you doing this while talking?
While she's talking, right? Yeah, that's the thing. That's what I was talking to Dan last episode. Like, people that can, play the guitar very intricately and sing at the same time.
It's the same thing. It's the same skill. Exactly. It's a great analogy.
How do you do that? I don't have that modality. Like, I have to be completely focused on the thing that I want to work, and that would be the game. I couldn't talk to you.
Either one or the other. Yeah, you can either sing or you can play guitar. You can either talk or you can play the game.
Now, granted, I can fight Tyson and Punch Out and scream expletives. I can do that. I've done it. It's very easy to do.
She came close to that a couple times.
Oh, no way. Not
No, she's very patient, but she ended up getting Tyson 3 times in the second round. It was It was like a legit Auburn Chris Davis moment, like. Davis Hazel,
there's that brain of yours again.
It's the Vern Lundquist. What's that?
There's that brain of yours again. Just fine picking one moment from sports history that happened eons ago.
It's the Chris Davis. Davis, he's got a lane. He's got a chance. Chris Davis, and it's like Vern Lundquist like screaming at the top of his lungs as the Auburn crowd goes crazy. And
yeah, man,
it's like. It was one of those moments where it's like, holy shit, she really did it. She really did it. This is great. And it made me realize like, oh, this is why Twitch streaming is fun, because you really latch on to somebody and you watch them struggle through it. She
attracts the right people too. There's something to that. Like,
absolutely, yes.
I think there's a couple things in her favor. One, and I've surfed the Twitch sphere. I've watched people like Arcus, who's a renowned speedrunner. We talked to White Hat, brought him up on the episode. He's completely renowned, and he's a very popular Twitch streamer for retro games because he's such a good speedrunner.
Yes,
and he's entertaining, but you can't follow that Twitch comment. You can't follow the chat. It's just chaos.
Yeah,
and that's too much. There's a cost of becoming like so big that the chat's just incomprehensible. Like, why even try to reach out and say like, hey man, I like your stuff? They're not gonna see it. And so like,
way too much going on there. Yeah, way too many people. Yeah,
I want her to grow. I would love for her to be like one of the best. But at the same time, I really like being able to interact with her, which she's very good at doing. She is. She could be playing one of the most difficult games, in the retro space, and still kindly welcome you in, and also tell everyone what you're into. She remembers you. She's very good at that. She's so good. So, it was episode 11, by the way, and
of course you know. And, gotta go find that. What episode number was that?
Yeah, and she's absolutely great. But again, Castlevania 2, your video was really good. And to be honest, I've actually not. I've been I watched HD play through it, and now I've seen your video of it, and I personally have stayed away from it because of all the horror stories, but I think you two have given me enough reason to jump right on in. It sounds like it's not as bad as detractors are quick to point out, so I'm excited to jump into it. No,
it's not. It's in the same category for me as Zelda 2, where it was one of those things where I remember playing both as a kid, one way or another. I had two childhood friends when I was growing up that had NESs. I did not have an NES. I was stuck with Atari 2600 until I got a Super Nintendo.
What a loser.
But
sorry.
This guy. But yeah, no, and my friend, my childhood friend, Sean would rent Castlevania 2, and he got so frustrated with that game. But I remember, he got reasonably far in it, and it was just one of those things where it's like, okay, this game is just, broken and crappy and antiquated and whatever. It's terrible. Like, it's irredeemable crap. And then here comes a certain, very extremely popular YouTuber with millions of views and millions of subscribers that comes and confirms everyone, it's confirmation bias. Is this game bad? Yes, this guy says it's bad, so it must be bad. So I'm sitting here like, is it bad? And I play it, and I'm like, it's not that bad.
It's not that bad.
I thought it was fine.
And I think we've all had those moments with, angry video game nerds specifically. I think sometimes we forget he's trying to entertain us. Of course he's going to point out all of the bad things. And he does a really good job. I love his videos. I love that video specifically. It's one of my favorites. But they're not always fair, and that's our fault for thinking so.
Have trouble separating between the character and the person, and they think like, oh, the character, he hates the game, and it's like, I don't think James Rolfe hates the game. I think he thinks the game is fine.
It's okay. I mean, there are some where I'm sure he hates them. There are some that he he was
like
spot
Dr.
on
Jekyll,
for, but
Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I'm sure he hates that game, but Castlevania 2 is fine. It's not that bad. Don't be scared of Castlevania 2. It's fine. It's not that bad. Like, I got through it okay. In fact, it's one of the most forgiving NES games I've ever played.
No shit.
Okay. It's unlimited continues, and even when you continue right where you died. And it's like, how many NES games do that? So fine. It's
almost like, what's the point of a continue? I think you made that point in the Lawnmower Man video. It's like, if you continue right where you started, isn't that just a life?
You've got 3 continues, 3 lives, so you basically have 9 lives.
Yeah, I don't even understand why they continue you from the same point. Like, if that's
no idea.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue. I like that. I like it, but I'm just saying.
But 9 lives aren't enough. That's all I'm going to say, because Lawnmower Man, the run and gun sections are absurd in that game. But
did you say you'd watched that movie?
I've seen, I know Pierce Brosnan. I don't remember who plays the woman, but I know Pierce Brosnan is the guy. I know Jeff Fahey is the lawnmower guy who gets not tricked, but Jeff Fahey becomes the guy that ends up being the guy in virtual reality. But I've only seen clips of it. But no, I haven't seen the movie, but I'm reasonably familiar with it.
Interesting. I've not seen it. I've not seen it at all. I want to.
It looks super 90s cheesy. And
I love that, though. I love goofy. Like, one thing that a lot of people don't know about me is that I'm damn near an expert in late 70s through the 80s, early 90s.
Okay.
Horror comedy or horror/comedy movies. And that feels like it fits the bill. Like, it feels like, sort of stupid enough to be perfect for the thing I'm into, because you can't lose if you're a fan of that genre. Either you're going to be scared or you're going to be laughing, and what's wrong with either of those things? I love both.
give the audience a late 70s example of that, because I'm curious now. Like, of what you're talking about. Yeah, like, are you going to be scared, or are you going to be laughing your ass off? Like, what would that be? Well, I mean, scared would probably be Alien, obviously, because Alien is freaking terrifying.
Yeah, I mean, the 70s have a lot of really good, interesting, scary stuff.
Because you surprised me with that one, like late 70s. Whoa, you're going further back than I'm comfortable with.
Yeah, I mean, there's the Halloween movie started in the 70s. That's
okay.
There's stuff back there. Some John
Good call.
Carpenter stuff is
call.
back in that era. Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, there's some stuff back there. The Wicker Man, that's a weird one. That was from the early 70s.
Oh, Pearl just watched Wicker Man the other day.
Oh,
the original
really?
70s Wicker Man.
No shit.
Oh my god, that movie is freaking weird.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's weird in like not in a fun way. It's weird until you get to. I mean, it's like kind of just like, okay, what the hell is this? Until you get to like the last, like, I don't know, 15 minutes. And then that's when everybody starts singing, and like Christopher Lee starts like doing his thing, his Christopher Lee thing.
Oh yeah.
And then the guy, yes, and then the guy's up there in the thing screaming, and everybody's holding hands and singing, and it's like, oh my dear God, what the hell am I watching right now?
I mean, but if you're thinking like comedy horror, there's some really good classics in the 70s, man. You got like. Young Frankenstein is part of that too.
Oh,
Mel
of course,
Brooks.
yeah, Mel Brooks.
Rocky Horror Picture Show's huge.
Okay,
I don't know if you've seen House, not the one with the British comedian that fakes being a doctor. It's actually it's about a house that's possessed, but it's super funny. Attack of the Killer Tomatoes is from that era. So like the 70s, Tales of the Crypt is another one. There's some really good ones from that era. I mean, the 80s though made them really campy. Like everything is just sexy teens getting murdered over and over in the 80s, but the 70s really they kind of invented it. Yeah. But I'm glad love that shit. It's shtick. I love shtick.
I'm glad you brought up Wicker Man, because I saw parts of that. I saw the ending of that the other day, and I was just like, dear God, like this is messed up. Like I was not expecting that.
Yeah, it's so strange.
It made me very sad for the remake with Nicolas Cage, because it's so dumb.
Oh my God, yes. That one's also sneaky funny. Like if you go into it thinking it's funny, you will laugh. If you if you think it's a horror movie, you'll just be sad that Nicolas Cage somehow ended up in that movie. But go in thinking it's funny. You'll have a good time. I wanted to share a sort of funny story about the video that I put out this week.
Go ahead. Yeah, I'm sorry. You're going on about billiards games, not pool games, but billiards games.
I don't.
NES.
I fully expect a number of comments about how pool is different from billiards. I personally don't know. I didn't take the time to look. I just, I put pool/billiards. You guys figure it out. Here's some video games. But what's really weird? I don't have a ton of people that follow me on Twitter specifically talking about DrunkFriend. So it's kind of nice when I get a little action from there, where somebody points out like, "Hey man, I like your channel, whatever." One of the people that chats me up about DrunkFriend on Twitter is Good Vibe Collecting. He's also a very prominent commenter in my videos, and I appreciate the guy. He reached out to me, and it's fair to point out that I work on my videos and I put them out well ahead in advance. In fact, today I just finished off September, so I'm getting ready to get into my spooky October stuff already. So this video was done well in advance. On July 17th, which is like a little over a week from when I'm about to post the billiards games on NES video, he reaches out and says, "Hey, at Trav Plays Games, it's worth playing championship pool just for this." And he took a picture of so in championship pool, whenever the opponent is shooting, it does this weird thing where it shows this guy in a picture frame. And actually, I want to send this to you over Discord right now, Drunk, so that you can see what I'm looking at here.
Yeah.
There is an old man that flashes on the screen, and it says Time Warp. And his name is John Doyle for whatever reason. I don't know who John Doyle is. I didn't take the time to look it up.
What
he says,
the hell is this?
And he'll time warp you. So it doesn't let you watch the opponent play. It just says Time Warp. And it's this. It looks like the bald version of the leader from Heaven's Gate, just staring you down. And he's like, "Time has passed. The other player has gone, and this is what happened. You lost or you've won. You know, he tells you what happened while you were. Sometimes it's like, now it's your turn. But the time warp guy is fucking weird, and I make that an emphasis in my video. You know, if you've seen it, which it's out now, you can watch. There's like, I do a whole thing where I like zoom in on his face and play creepy music because he is creepy as fuck. He doesn't belong in a pool game for no reason.
What is this guy doing?
Why is he in a picture frame? Is he dead? Like, I don't understand.
Okay, there's two things I got here. Number one is the picture frame makes him look like he's in some sort of like first-person dungeon crawler RPG.
Yes.
Where it's like he's like the enemy that you come across.
Exactly.
In like a wizardry game or something.
Yeah, like he just said game over to your ass. Like, you're done.
The second thing is that he looks like in the last episode of Star Trek Next Generation when they had to age Patrick Stewart and they had to like glue extra like white hair and make his eyebrows look like Andy Rooney's. Actually, he kind of looks like Andy Rooney if he were bald.
He does look like Andy Rooney, yes.
But he's wearing Marty McFly's jacket from Back to the Future 2. I don't know what he's wearing. What's with the silver jacket?
I don't get it, man.
What is it? Why is this supposed to be a leather jacket? Is he supposed to look tough?
I don't know. And I just Googled John Doyle and nothing comes up except like a Scottish mandolin player. Like, and I don't think it's him. I don't understand what's going on with this guy. But anyway, he will creep up into your game and tell you that you either fucked up or you won.
Okay, so he's a Frankenstein of Patrick Stewart's hairline, Andy Rooney's eyes, and I guess Fonzie's jacket. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't get the Fonzie jacket. But I thought it was weird that Good Vibes would say, like, hey, man, you should play this game. And I'm like, dude, that's my next video. What is up? Like, how did you know? Of all the games, of all of the weeks, you know, it's a weird time and space thing. So that's fun. It's always fun. So thanks for reaching out, Good Vibes.
It's always funny when you run into John Doyle.
I know, and I make a little bit of a thing in the video, and he
don't
emphasized
understand what this is.
So maybe I should be creeped out. Maybe Good Vibes is actually like, maybe he's in my house right now. Now that I'm thinking about it, like, is it a coincidence?
I'm so glad you shared that because that was a delight.
yeah, it's fun. It's weird. Let's get into some emails. How about it?
Oh yeah, we got emails here.
All right.
Should I read the first one here?
Hey, go for it, man.
Okay, we got email from our friend Michelle. She says, "Hi, drunk friends." Hi, Michelle. You know, the podcast just keeps getting better and better. I love the incorporation of the quote-unquote random topics episodes, examples, 90s music, and college football. It's a nice way to relate and make the audience really feel like we are your quote-unquote drunk friends. Smiley face, wink.
Oh, wink. Ooh.
Okay. Oh, wink, yeah. I do have a question for the both of you. Since you guys love talking about sports on the podcast and on the Discord, shameless polykill Discord plug, best place on the interwebs.
Yay!
Yeah, that's right. I was wondering, what is your favorite sports movie? That's an awesome question. And she says, mine would have to be the classic Major League. There are so many quotable moments, and the actual baseball playing is not that bad. That's an excellent point by her. And she goes on to say, I'm looking at you, Bull Durham, and she is so dead on about that. Like, freaking both Tim Robbins and Kevin Costner do not know how to throw properly. It is really distracting and annoying.
Tim Robbins specifically. It's like, are you fanning yourself or throwing a bit? What are you doing?
I don't understand that. Like, what happened with the casting with that movie? But anyway,
go
she
break
says,
out a Shawshank. It's what I scream at Tim Robbins. That's what I tell him.
You got out of Shawshank with that arm. Come on. She says, anywho, keep on doing the great work, and thanks for remembering to mention what you guys are drinking.
Oh shit!
Did we mention that? I don't.
No,
think
not
we
today.
did.
We didn't. I am drinking a
God.
mojito. I just made myself a mojito. Now, that's granted, I drank 2 beers while I was waiting on SNES Drunk to catch his breath from running. But I did switch over to a nice mojito, man. I made a really good one here. I made it boozy. And really boozy. What, are you drinking anything over there? Water, probably, to rehydrate?
Water to rehydrate and Tito's handmade vodka to
Goddamn right.
unrehydrate.
Hell yeah.
And then she says, see you on the Discord, Michelle.
And she means the Polykill Discord. Yeah, that's right. Which is awesome. Thank you, Michelle, for plugging that so I don't have to so much.
So we've got a tough question here. What is your favorite sports movie?
Yeah, so I have a list of 3, and when I was thinking about this, I realized they're all about football, and they're all in the roughly the 90s. So and I like some baseball
School
movies.
Ties.
I do like.
Please tell me one of them School Ties.
No,
Cowards!
no, it's not School Ties.
Oh, like 3 people know what I'm talking about right now.
My problem with most sports movies are the actors are never big enough to be players, and that always takes me out of it. I'm like,
True.
They're too small to be professional. So I actually ended up liking the ones where they're not professional. So I really liked, as a kid, I really loved Little Giants. That was one of my favorite movies growing up.
Fun movie, yeah.
Yeah, I think I was 9 years old when it came out. Love Rick Moranis. And Devin Sawa, actually, he's really funny on Twitter, too. I follow him on Twitter. He has like a fake beef with Macaulay Culkin, which makes me laugh. So Little Giants, great choice, man. I love that movie so much. The number 2, not quite 90s, but came out in the year 2000, so might as well count because we're all still wearing Jinkos and we have spiked tips or blonde. You know what I mean? We all look like Fred Durst. Remember the Titans? I love.
Of course,
that
yeah, Denzel.
And it's about a home state team. It's about a team in Virginia. I'm from Virginia.
Okay.
It's about 1971 football team, and my high school actually won in 1970. So there's it's kind of like some history connection there. Great acting.
Okay.
I mean, it's great. A lot of good.
It's a legit
too.
good movie, even if you don't care about sports.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, and it's it's Disney-fied, sure, but it's fun and it's got a good message, man. It's great. The number 3 though, in a movie I watched, when I played high school football, every Friday before a football game, we would have time to watch a movie. So basically, you're not practicing, but what they wanted to do, they wanted to keep you in the field house and not let you get into any trouble between the end of school and the beginning of the game. So you had a couple-hour window where it's just like, hey guys, just get in here and just please don't fucking do anything stupid. So we would watch movies, and a movie that we would watch more home games than not is Varsity Blues. And it was hot. It was hot during that time. It came out during that time, so obviously it was great. There's a pretty naked lady scene. Obviously, it's funny. It's a funny movie, and I quote that movie to this day. I still I used to tell my dad all the time when he was still around. I'd be like, "Hey, Dad, I don't want your life." Just to be funny.
Your life.
Just to be funny with him, but I still do that to anyone who tells me what to do. I say, "I don't want your life," and then I throw a football and hit the mascot, the nearest mascot, with it.
Poor James Vanderbeek. Who would have thought that terrible line delivery would have completely tanked his career? I don't want your life.
Yeah, it was James Voight, his dad. I think it might have been
John Voight. Yeah,
I'm sorry, John Voight. Yeah, no one wants that guy's life. He sucks. So that makes sense. Good job. I think
Not
James
after
Vanderbeek
Kramer
is redeemed.
bit him. Jeez.
Yeah, I think he's redeemed. What about you? Do you have a top 3?
Well, no, I don't have a top 3. I'm looking at my DVD collection, which isn't much. I own 2 sports movies.
What is wrong with you, man?
I know, but I do love a good sports movie. I love the Rocky movies. Listen, Rocky 4.
Oh, Rocky. Oh.
Rocky 4. No, that's not one of my choices. I'm just saying.
Oh, the Rocky movies are great, though. I didn't even think of the Rocky movies, so that's perfect. Yeah.
Rocky 4 is one of the great movies of human history, I think. It's so ridiculous and so over the top.
Is it your favorite Rocky movie?
Oh, for sure, yeah. Rocky 4 is by far the best. It's if I can change, you can change, anybody can change.
See, I think my favorite is the first movie. I think it's more raw. I think it's a little more realistic. But I do like the fourth one.
I do like the first one because, it does. That's a good point because it is like a little more unpredictable, and plus Rocky doesn't like win at the end. Spoiler alert.
He's just an obnoxious dude, which I love. I love that he's just a guy.
He's just a guy, like off the street.
Yeah,
and Apollo is like a real boxer, and he matches up with him really well. And it's a real boxing movie. It's really smartly written.
But I get that four gets you amped as fuck. Like I agree with that. Like if I watch Rocky 4, I can't even get to the end of it because I just start punching things in my house. So it's great. It's great.
What I love about 4 is the contrast of the what do you call it? The training montages where you've got Rocky in the mountains where he's like carrying logs and like sawing stuff, and then you've got you've got Dolph Lundgren like getting injections of things and stuff like that, and he just looks coldly up at the doctor.
It's so 80s. I love it.
Oh, and the music, it's just brilliant. I love it.
I've always, sometimes I think about, like, when Jake, to bring up Jake again, my Polyco co-host,
yeah.
He does a lot of, like, core exercising and boxing as part of his workouts, and he'll share, like, as part of the Get Fit Discord, we share, like, any exercise that you do. If you can find a way to document it, share it so that we can give you kudos. You want to be accountable. Sometimes he just goes to the boxing gym and just wails on a boxing bag, and I can only think of Jake punching raw cold meat in a cabin because of that movie. Anytime he's like, yep, just went and punched a bunch of stuff, I'm like,
I think that's just the first movie, though. I don't think that's the fourth movie.
Is that okay? That's
yeah.
He's
tenderizing the meat in the first movie. Yeah.
Is it okay?
No,
okay,
but that's a legendary scene, though. That's
all I think about when anybody says they're out punching stuff is just Sylvester Stallone in a random cabin punching bacon, not Kevin Bacon, like hanging meat.
That'd be amazing, though, if it were Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
Kevin Bacon would give up after, like, 3 punches. Like, no, stop! I'm the Hollow Man.
Yeah, but I got that Boogie Nights energy, so what, you gonna catch me?
No, I only own 2 sports movies on DVD, I realized. And you're going to be upset with the first one. But I love this movie. And Michelle, the gal that emailed us, is going to love it because it's Rudy.
Oh, come on.
And I love
she's a
Rudy.
Notre Dame fan. Come on.
The thing is, I don't care. Yeah, she is. But I don't care about Notre Dame. When it comes to that movie, Notre Dame goes out the window. Like, I don't care. I only care about Charles S. Dutton, the janitor. Yeah. I only care about your 5'0", you weigh 100 and nothing, and you think you got something to prove, and you prove what? And I love that speech. And when he runs out onto that field oh man,
it's a great film. It's a great film.
I just love it.
Based on a great story.
It's a great story. I love it, and it's one of my all-time. It gives me chills every time. Get the big-time goosebumps. But the one, I hate to be anticlimactic, but the other movie I own is Major League.
That's a great one, man.
It's Roger Dorn. It's what's this Olay bullshit, Dorn? That will never not make me laugh. Like, he's afraid of getting hit in the face by a ground ball at third. What's this Olay bullshit, Dorn? And it's like freaking, oh man, it's just, that movie kills me.
And that was before Charlie Sheen was Tiger Blood or whatever. So I mean,
that was like when Charlie Sheen was like Platoon Charlie Sheen.
Yeah, that was it Hot Shots and Hot Shots 2?
Oh yeah, Hot Shots Part 2. Yeah, and I think it was original Hot Shots too. So yeah.
So that's that's a great choice. That movie, I mean, it's so funny. It's hard for me not to pick that one, but I think it's definitely my top 5. Major League is
Major League's
great.
Amazing.
So is that your favorite?
Major League. What's that?
Is that your favorite then?
Oh yeah, that's definitely my favorite. It's my most rewatchable.
Oh, wow.
I would go back to it all the time. Yeah,
you and Michelle have that in common. All right.
Yeah. I'm sorry to be boring, but yeah, I have to go Major League because.
Well, do you have since all of mine were football? Do you have a favorite football sports movie? There are a ton to choose from. You got the First and 10s.
Well, I did say Rudy, but.
What is it called?
I don't want to disappoint you with Rudy though. I'm
Burt Reynolds one?
I'm going to be disappointing again and say Remember the Titans because that's like a legit good movie with.
It's so good.
It's so good. It's like you don't need it's like the NBA Jam of movies where it's like you don't have to care about.
Longest Yard is what I was thinking of. You don't like The Longest Yard? That's a good one.
It's fine.
Okay.
It's okay.
All right.
I think it's fine. Are you talking the Burt Reynolds one?
I mean, I love both, to be honest.
Really?
I think the Adam Sandler.
The Adam Sandler one?
I think it did okay. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna be hard on them. They did all right.
No, that's fine. I haven't seen the Adam Sandler one. I just
it's okay. You'll laugh.
Terrible thing. Okay, I'll take it. But the Burt Reynolds
it's
one,
like a Happy Gilmore for football. You like Happy Gilmore?
Oh, okay. You just brought it up. Happy Gilmore. I forgot about that. Happy Gilmore is in my top whatever.
That's easily in my top 5. Holy shit, that movie's great.
Absolutely. Especially since Vern Lundquist is in it, and he's one of my favorite announcers of all time.
Yeah.
And I love hearing his voice in anything. So it's, Happy Gilmore's way up there. Especially with the one of my favorite lines in any movie ever is, well, I eat pieces of shit like you for breakfast. You eat pieces of shit for breakfast? And just the way he says, no.
I love it, man. Dude, actually, the guy that played Shooter McGavin, I hated that guy for years. Just because he played an asshole in a Happy Gilmore movie, I was like, that guy's such a douche. He did play a good douche, which means he's a great actor. But I could not separate him from being just a fucking stuck-up piece of shit forever.
You know what's funny is that guy's had an amazing career. His name is Christopher something. I can't remember his last name, but he played a very memorable part in a Star Trek Next Generation episode too. Christopher McDonald, yes, and he played the love interest of Tasha Yar in a Star Trek Next Generation flashback episode way back in like 93, 94. This was probably before, it had to have been before Happy Gilmore, and it was one of the best Next Generation episodes ever. And it's funny because when some people think of that guy, they think of him in that episode, and they're like, "Oh, it's that guy who valiantly died in that accident, in that battle with Tasha Yar in that time travel episode." And then there's other people that are like, "You're that guy that went after Happy Gilmore." They're just like angry at him and stuff. It's just. It's funny, like it must be very strange to be an actor and just get like all sorts of reactions.
Especially because he is usually cast, because he has the face of a smug prick. And he's always cast in that light,
Yeah, he said. I think he said he recognized that himself in an interview because he gets that all the time. You eat pieces of shit for breakfast? No,
oh, man. So good. Well, I'm glad I got another movie out of you. Happy Gilmore's a great one.
Oh, Happy Gilmore's an all-timer. Yeah, for sure. It's great. I love it.
All right, so we have another email here. This one comes from Jonathan. He says, "Hi guys. I'm a fan of both your channels and the podcast, and found both to be helpful, especially with what to put on my retro fantasy list for my hacked SNES Classic. An area I'd like to see/hear you get into is game development. I'd love to hear a bit from developers about how the games got made back in the day, any internal fights over game content, production deadlines, etc. For example, I'm sure folks have some stories from the dreaded LJN company that would be interesting to hear, and I think you are the guys to talk to these folks. We all learn a bit more about this hobby we love from another perspective. A tangent to this could be arcade developers. I really enjoyed the rise of bar arcades recently, pre-COVID, and have been curious about what people think of arcades having a second life. I'm 38, like you, Alex, and pretty much a nostalgic addict, so the shows about Soundgarden and the like, combined with the retro gaming, is pretty much my wheelhouse. Looking forward to see how it all develops. Jonathan Hurley." Jonathan, my man, I love a good barcade, and I think I have sort of a semi, now that I'm really far into my mojito, in fact, it's gone, I have a somewhat astute observation with those things. I have a buddy that lives down in Greensboro, North Carolina, and from where I live in the hills of Virginia, that also happens to be like the closest place for fun for me. It's a couple hours away, and they have a barcade down there that I'm taken to fairly regularly when I visit my buddy, called Boxcar. And I think it's a small chain. In fact, I think it's so small, I think there's only 2 locations. I think there's one in Greensboro, one in Raleigh. And what I've noticed about those things is that it's all people just our age in there. And I think it's interesting how, like, when we were kids, the arcade was full of sody pop and candy and just kids, and like you had to kick, if you were like 16, 17 in an arcade, you had to kick like a 9-year-old off your leg because he was like, "Let me play," and you're like, "Get out of here, I'm trying to play Street Fighter." Like, it was like all of that stuff. But now with Boxcar, it being a bar, like they serve alcohol, you have to be 21, and you buy tokens. You have to purchase special tokens to put in the machines to play them. It's not free play, which makes sense if these places want to make money. It's interesting to me that they still, it's like, okay, we know our target demographic are the ages 35 to 50. We know those people specifically love to get drunk. And we know that we need to make it cheap and easy for them. So there's cup holders on every machine. They make the way to get coins super easy. Like, and it's still a blast. Like, I love the energy in those things, and with it having like beer available and occasionally food at some of the places, like, it's so fun. I definitely love the second life of arcades, however you can get it. I know I went to Chicago a couple years ago for, I'm being in Polykill, we're a part of the Cartridge Club, and we had a meetup in Chicago a couple years back, and there is a arcade there which boasts being like one of the biggest in the world, called Galloping Ghosts. Tons of machines. I mean, Alex, you would go crazy. There's probably not a machine there that you haven't thought of. Yeah, you'd love it. And we spent hours in there, and it's so great to kind of relive that, because I talked about this, I think maybe one of our first episodes. The arcade experience is something that I just missed out on. Like, I think I was just too young to really appreciate it, and you might have been just old enough. So what do you think? Do you have any local barcades or anything like that you can get that nostalgic leak from the old days from?
The thing for me was I was lucky enough to have a video store that had a video rental store, Video Update, that I don't know what compelled them. But in fact, it probably was what compelled them was the fact that they were like 5-6 blocks away from an elementary school. Video Update had a separate room. It was a video rental store that had I would say like 6 arcade machines and 2 pinball machines. And let's see, I can almost remember all 6 machines. One was Street Fighter Champion Edition. One was World Heroes. Do you remember World Heroes?
Here's that drunk brain in action again, folks. I do not remember World Heroes.
You don't remember World Heroes? Okay.
No, it seems like a very generic name. Like, maybe if I saw it.
It's like an SNK thing. Was it SNK? Yeah, it was. I'm pretty sure it was SNK. Yeah. But it was a fighting game. It wasn't a big deal at all. There was WWF Superstars, which had Macho Man Randy Savage.
Hell yeah.
And that's always a go-to. Okay, that's 3. There were there was Art of Fighting, and I remember that one was good because you could unplug it and plug it back in, and you'd get a free game. And that was always awesome.
Did the people that owned the place care that you did that?
No.
Did they know?
No, I have no idea. They didn't give a shit. If they did, I don't know, and I don't care. But what were the other games there? I can't remember. There were because it was like a bunch of games there, and there were 2 pinball machines in the back. One was Kiss, of course, and the other one was like some generic thing. I can't remember, but man, what were those other games? I can't remember. I'm out of
Man, you're up to 4.
Yeah,
is the drunk memory fading? Is 38? Is that the cutoff?
I think so. Yeah, there might have been 5. I think there was only 5 because there's one spot in my brain that's like.
Now you're backpedaling, but that's okay.
Yeah, it's blank, and you're backpedaling. it's blank. Well, I'm picturing it in my head, and it's like the spot in the room, it has a black spot in it, like an anime. And I'm like, I can't see what's there, and it's like, what was there? I can't remember. But yeah, I think it was only 5, and then there were the 2 pinball machines that everyone ignored. But yeah, no, it was World Heroes, WWF Superstars. But yeah, that was our go-to. But the big deal for us was the Minnesota State Fair. And anybody from Minnesota will know that if you go to the Minnesota State Fair, you're going to go to the Penny Arcade, and it's going to be a bunch of stuff. And it's going to have X-Men 4-player. It's going to have, like, Time Crisis and, House of the Dead and, like, what was the other thing? Like, Rush 2045, like, all this stuff. Like, these
2049?
Yeah.
Where's your brain going?
2049? Yeah, this is when I was there when I was like 23.
Yeah, no. I'm fucking around. I'm trying to pick on this drunk brain of yours. I'm trying to find all of the weaknesses.
I remember it was the 4-player X-Men and not the 6-player, and I was really disappointed because when I went there, it was always filled with kids playing, and I wanted to play, and it was always like a huge line and all that sort of stuff. There was always NBA Jam. All the Midway stuff was there. All Mortal Kombat 2, NBA Jam, all that stuff was there. Cabal was there. Terminator 2 was there. It was just like all the typical arcade stuff that you're used to. You're used to seeing at the Minnesota State Fair every last couple weeks of August until Labor Day. Until COVID, yeah.
Is there anything local to you? Is there anything within a few driving miles where you can get an arcade fix?
It just as a kid, it was just that video update thing I talked about, but
nothing now, like nothing
now. There is a place that sells arcade machines now, and they fix them up. Yeah, it's called like Ghost Arcade or something like that. I can't remember the name. I see their bumper stickers all over the place. I can't remember the name of it at the top of my head. So their bumper stickers must not be very effective. But
must not be, man. Sucks.
But no, there's a place here that like fixes them. It's like one guy, and I can't remember the name of it. I'm sorry, guy that is not listening to this. But
he's going to one day and be like, fuck SNES Drunk. I can't believe it.
He's the guy I want to hit up when I want to buy one. I want to buy like NBA Jam or Mortal Kombat 2 or something like that. There is a place. I stand corrected. There is a bar here that place supplies arcade machines to. It's called Sister Bar, and it's on Central in Albuquerque. And they used to have the Simpsons arcade game.
What?
And me and Pearl, or I should say, grammatically correct, Pearl and I used to try and beat that game. We got all the way to the final level. We ran out of quarters. So.
Oh no! Come on, quarters. Was it on free play?
No, we ran out of quarters. But we're happy to donate to that bar because they're awesome. But
hell yeah, man! Hell yeah!
But they had the Simpsons, and they eventually replaced the Simpsons with Ninja Turtle, the first Ninja Turtles game. That's fine, but I miss the Simpsons. They just swapped Konami for Konami, but they also have a very broken version of Mortal Kombat 2, which I will never play again because they refuse to fix it. They have like a lot of really old shit like Galaga and Burger Time and stuff like that. And Galaga's fun.
I love those games. Come on, I'm an NES guy. You're just going to talk down on their bunch of shit. What's going on?
They're a bunch of shit. Burger Time. What are you doing? Just building a bunch of burgers? You can't even eat the burgers. I mean, come on.
You can't. That does suck. I do agree.
Come on. Can't even.
I do want to bring up though. Jonathan here was like, "Hey, you guys should talk to some more developers." And unfortunately, we don't fucking know any. I think it's a problem.
I was gonna say, do you know any?
I would love to.
Do you know anybody?
Love to talk to anybody. Like, I would love to talk to the guy that just like drew the LJN logo. Like anybody that was important 40 years ago in gaming, we would love to talk to them. So, hey, guys, if you know anyone like that,
if you know whoever came up with John Doyle in the Time War.
Oh, fuck yeah. If you know John Doyle, that would be... That's
Who
the
is
podcast
John
we go
Doyle
out
based on? I want to know this guy. Put John Doyle in my office right now. I want to talk to him. I got some questions.
But seriously, like, if you have any connections at all, I mean, we don't. And
honestly,
it would be great.
Though, the guy I really want to talk to is what's his name? The guy who's made himself available pretty regularly, and I don't mean that in a bad way. Sorry, my mind's going in bad places. But Dylan Cuthbert.
Oh yeah,
he's the guy that was one of the main heads of Star Fox when that was developed.
Right. Yeah.
He's a wonderful guy, as far as I can tell anyway. He's very articulate, very smart guy. And sometimes when people say the word articulate, they mean it like in a demeaning way, like, oh, regular people aren't articulate. It's like, no, this guy's articulate in terms of like phrasing things that are difficult to phrase in layman terms. Okay, that's what I mean by that. So I think Dylan Cuthbert would be a great guest because he knows how to do that, and I think he's a very smart guy that is with it. He's been on podcasts before and all that sort of stuff. So he's not unfamiliar.
honestly, I think between the content that you and I really thrive in, our passions, it could be anyone that touched really any integral part of any game. Like if you're a composer, I mean,
yeah,
anything.
I would
I mean, if you worked
that.
for like a magazine, even if you worked for a publisher back in the day, anything. I mean, it'd be cool to talk to someone who was
Nintendo Power.
Yeah, fuck yeah, man. Like talk to what do they call the Nintendo Power kids that you could call in? And they sometimes showed them in a magazine. They always had like, man, I swear to God, they had the best mullets. I'm trying to grow a mullet right now. I have a COVID mullet going on, but it did not come close to some of those Nintendo Power mullets they were posting back in 1991. But like counselors, right? That's
the counselors, yes, you nailed it. I forget who it was and where I heard this. It wasn't a YouTube comment. It was someplace else. I think it might have been Twitter. And this was years ago. But it was when I was doing the Drunk with Nintendo Power episodes, which I wasn't happy with. I wasn't enjoying doing them, and they were hard to shoot. They just weren't working out for me. So, but what I did is I always made sure to feature the counselors' corners, like you said. And one person I featured and made sure to talk about was this woman. And this guy, I'm pretty sure it was Twitter. He hit me up and said, like, that's my mom.
What?
Like, I'm so happy that you talked about my mom and you made sure to talk about what she accomplished. And that was her job back in the day. And I was like, oh, my God, that's the coolest thing ever.
That's so cool.
I loved it. That just made my whole week. And I can't remember if that was Twitter or if that was, like, Discord or where that was. It was years ago, but... If you're listening now, fellow, please message drunkfriendpodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, and if you still know your mom, reach
we'd
out
love
to her. We would love to. I mean, honestly, that's really cool, man. Because you got to think, like, I kind of take for granted like these things just exist. But then like, there's people walking around everywhere that had a hand in this stuff, and I have so many questions to stuff that they think is so mundane. Like,
oh, for sure, yeah.
Stuff that they're like, oh, well, we made it black because that was cheaper to print, whatever they would say, and I'd be like, oh, that's cool. But, like, there's so much I would ask. So yeah, please, we would love it, and I think it fits our mold here. We're a couple drunk friends looking to chat up some video game people. So
yeah, absolutely. If anybody knows anybody. To plug myself very, very briefly, very quickly, to plug myself, that sounds fucking terrible. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, you should pay someone to help you with it.
A long while ago, I think it was almost a year ago at this point now, I was very lucky to get a phone call, or I should say an email, quick, from a writer from The Athletic at theathletic.com. And that is a very legitimate sports website. It is like there's a lot of like lifelong sports writers, sports columnists like Joe Posnanski, like dudes that have won awards and stuff like that. Like
it's a very esteemed publication. Yeah. Like I don't know personally a guy that writes there, but I know a guy that transitioned from our local paper to there. And guy, I feel like, immediately started wearing a bow tie when he started working there. Like,
speaking of bow tie, Ken Rosenthal is part of The Athletic. Yes.
There you go.
Thank you for reminding me. But a guy that worked at the Athletic, he texted me, or he didn't text me, he emailed me and said, like, hey, we want to talk to you about Ken Griffey Jr. Presents Major League Baseball. Can you give me, like, a few minutes? Can you talk on the phone? We ended up talking for, like, 30 minutes. On the phone about Ken Griffey Jr. Presents Major League Baseball for his article about that game.
That's so cool.
And it was just like the most surreal experience ever, because it was just like, this guy is getting paid right now to talk to me of all people, about Griffey baseball. And I think his main angle was the names. What were the names and how did they come across? Like, how were they made and what did they mean and that sort of stuff?
I see. Okay.
The original names, because there was no MLBPA, there was no Players Association license with that game. They had to make up the names, and some of them made sense because it was like Jay Hendricks and, like, B. Dillon, Jimi Hendrix, Bob Dylan, obviously, and
right.
P. McCartney, Jay Lennon, and stuff like that. But there were some that were just like, who are these people? And this dude set out to like find out who these people were, and he needed some like anecdotal information from like fans that were like, how did you try and find out what this was? And I was just like, I grabbed a newspaper and I changed the names that way. But as far as like finding out what the original names were, like me and my friends just got together and hung out and were like, who the hell are these people? And like, what does this mean? And what do you think? And what do you think? And that sort of thing. And yeah, no, and his name is Mark Carrig. He's a very good writer. He's a really smart guy, and he's a very nice guy. He's the nicest. He's one of those guys that's like, of course, like, why on earth would he reach out to me of all people? He said he saw my he said he saw my Griffey baseball video on YouTube, and he's like, I need to like get in touch with this guy because he obviously loves this game. So I was just like, man, oh man, like that's so cool. So yeah, I ended up talking, we planned a call for like 5-10 minutes and we ended up talking forever. And because he was such a fan and he was such a good guy. And yeah, and I couldn't be happier with how the article turned out. It was wonderful. It was just such a cool thing.
Yeah, if you guys want to search it out, it's called Solving the Mystery with Ken Griffey Jr. presents Major League Baseball by Mark Carrig, Carig.
Yeah.
theathletic.com, I guess. I don't know. Google it.
Yeah,
You can find it.
I think you do need a subscription to see that.
Yeah, that's the thing with The Athletic, but they got to make their money. But yeah.
They got to make their money, but yeah, no, that's that's what happened to me this past I think it was right when COVID started. It was like this past April, I think.
It was early April when it published, but I remember actually when you and I first had a voice-to-voice conversation for one of our early podcasts, you were like, dude, the craziest thing just happened to me today. And I was like, what is it, Mr. Drunk Man? And I was like, holy shit, that's incredible. So yeah,
I couldn't believe it. I was over the moon.
So cool, man. That's so cool.
I was over the moon. I couldn't believe it. Like, a real baseball writer wants to talk to me about freaking Griffey baseball. My favorite game of all time.
What else are they going to write about right now,
Exactly. That's what he basically says in the article. Like, what else are we going to write about? But yeah, no, it was a thrill. I love talking about it. Listen, if you're listening to this, you want to send an email, I'll talk to you about Griffey Baseball right now because I love that game. Let's do it. Let's go.
Hell yeah.
Talk to me about Griffey Baseball. We'll do it. Let's go.
That's all this man wants to talk about. It takes me hours every night to be like, we can't have a whole podcast about it. We need to talk about other stuff. So we let him get it out of his system here. And that's good because I think we wanted to bring up briefly, we've already talked for an hour here tonight, some of the new stuff that's coming out. You and I, we don't do new stuff. The coolest thing that you and I talk about are from, I think maybe the newest thing you're going to talk about is from 1996, and that's like F-Zero coming up soon or something like that.
F-Zero X?
F-Zero X.
No, that's like 98.
Oh, it's 98? Still, that's so much closer to now than Balloon Fight that I'm working on. So, so my point is that we had we don't have E3 this year because of COVID, obviously, and E3 was kind of dying out anyway. So,
so instead we got these Xbox games showcases.
Yeah, we got Xbox and Nintendo's doing their directs, Sony's doing their thing, but we're not getting them in that one week where it's very concentrated, which I think I liked better. People always kind of wanted like this drip feed from other sources. They wanted to take it in, they just do a direct and just, whenever it's ready, just send it to me. But I like the Super Bowl week of, hey, this is the week I need to pay attention because I can't stay dialed in all year for this stuff. Some people can, but that's not the way I work. So for me, it's like, oh shit, something happened. What was it, guys? And they're like, well, 3 months ago, They showed off this new game, and I'm like, I missed it. So I'm having a hard time keeping up. But anyway, so the Xbox showcase happened. Alex, do you care? Do you even have an Xbox that was made in 2000 after 2010?
I own no Xboxes.
Oh, what? Not even an old one?
No.
Oh,
I've never owned an Xbox in my life.
Musty
The only
Hobbit's going to
Microsoft
stop
stuff,
listening to us.
the only Microsoft stuff I've ever had is Windows. Yeah, no.
Quit bragging.
I will say, when it comes to the demo stuff, and like when it comes to the hype and that kind of stuff, I have a hard time getting enthusiasm for it because, and it's not because, I shouldn't say that because, I'll just give an example of why I feel that way. I remember when Spore was like the thing, and this was like, wow, God, this had to have been like 2003, 2004, something like that. And it was amazing. The demo was off the charts, incredible. And it was, I remember my friend Nate and I were just bouncing off the walls like, can you believe Spore? This is amazing. And it wasn't an official demo. The video we saw was literally like Will Wright showing something on like a pull down screen, in a classroom. You know what I mean? Like it was bad. Like none of it meant anything. But we were still like, oh, it's 2000 whatever, and we're just fine. And then the final game turned out, like several years later, like completely, utterly different than what we expected. And I'm just like, well, lesson learned, like fine by me. All right, whatever. I'm not getting this because this isn't what I thought it was going to be. So, yeah, no, that I kind of turned my... I'm gonna say it. I turn my nose up at these trailers and that sort of thing, the same way I do at movies. When I go to a movie and I sit through 9 different trailers, and they're all structured the exact same way, and they all have the same music cues, and they all have the same, dramatic cues, and they all have the, it's over, it's never over. And it's just the explosion.
There's always that
just
bass thing, like the boom.
Yeah, and then they do the bass thing, and it's just like, I don't. There's nothing that could compel me to care about any of this, like, ever. So I just don't care. But yeah, no, and it's turning into the same thing with games, and fine, you got to do what you got to do to sell games. Cool, but yeah, no, I don't. I want to see the official product. I guess that's my point. I want to see the stuff when it's out.
Now I do like a good wave of hype. I feel like, in the way I've sort of lived my life, I think I've always been a step behind. That's why I have an affinity for the NES, because honestly, I got it in 1990, 5 years after it came out, and I didn't let it go for years. And I always stayed a step behind because of it. Like I never had the shiny new console. I always had like the generation back. I always had the hand-me-down. So I like now that I'm able to afford a new thing, or now that we're in the information age, we have access to all the trailers we want, all of the information. I do like being in the jazz circle with everyone else. When everyone else is getting hyped about something, I like to be in there and be like, wow, this is cool. The problem is that there are some things that keep me from enjoying this as much as I think I could. I think primarily there is sort of a fundamental difference between you and I, in that, like, I think I probably play a few more modern games than you do.
Definitely.
You spend a lot of time on your channel, and there's occasionally a modern game that'll pique your interest, but I do try to, and because of, I have Polykill, and the guys in the Discord, the Polykill Discord are very... they sort of straddle the retro and modern line pretty well. But recently I played like Rage 2, and I just finished Plague Tale: Innocence. I played God of War. I played the Yakuza 0. So like I played some recent stuff, not like all the cutting edge stuff, but enough to stay in the conversation. But I used to be really enthralled by these. I think like 10 years ago, when I think Skyrim came out, maybe Fallout 3. I loved the whirlwind of E3. Like I would digest every trailer, every bit of information. I was still like really into the cutting edge of everything, and for some reason I do care less now. And the only thing I can point to is people. I think like I don't think it's it's not the games. The games look incredible. Holy shit! Have you seen games these days? They're stupid good looking. They're so stupid good looking. I don't care about new technology. That you could show me a box that say it has so many gigawatts and teraflops and gigabits. Could give a fuck. I don't give a shit about any of that. That's cool. I don't need a game to have 4K. It can be 8p, and as long as it's fun, that's all I care about. Just
what if it's 12Q? Is that going to make a difference?
Just tell me what button jumps. That's all I need to know, man. As long as it's fun, I don't give a shit. Like I played games with like an LED at MagFest. There was the demo team that had like an LED string of light bars they attached to a RetroPie. So you literally just played a game where you moved a dot along an LED strip of lights and tried to run away from other lights. And I was like, this is fun as shit. And it's not even on a screen, so like I can have fun doing anything. So, but I'm way less jazzed now, I think, because it's like the people, like YouTube and Twitter, like everyone feels like they have this very important opinion about every thing, trailers, everything. There's always like, and you and I have talked about this. We've made fun of this a ton of times. After every Nintendo Direct, where they're like, "Hey guys, we're working on some of your favorite games, some franchises you've loved your entire life, but they're not ready to show yet. But we're working on this." And then there's always the first video is a guy. He has a beard and a hat, and he's making a sad face, pointing to like a Nintendo logo, and he's like, "This sucks." It's like, fuck that guy, man. People are making games for you. Chill out a minute. Let them make your toys for just a second. They're busy.
He's got a beard.
He's always got a beard. He's always upset with the... Like, I get, like, you really want something, and companies lie. They're like, hey, man, it'll be out next summer. Just kidding. It's going to be out in 2027. Like, that sucks.
It's a very unkempt beard, too. It's like a neck beard. Like, it's like a Drew Gooden beard, like, all the way down to, like, his chest.
For some reason, the neck part's longer than the face part, and they're like, what order do you shave in? But like, yeah, like I don't get that. Like, I'm so positive about games.
Oh yeah, no, I'm so done with this crap about like these guys that are like, oh, I'm gonna have a shocked face and be like, I don't like any of these games and they suck. And like,
it's like, do you know how many people it took to make that helmet shiny? Like. And I know it's not like, I know like effort doesn't equal quality. Like, I totally get that. Like,
no, it's fine. It's
why are people so mad about like mundane shit? Like that game, to me, most games look pretty okay. Like the trailers themselves usually don't show a whole lot. Like I would rather have more gameplay than just what you said. Like the movie trailer is just like a base hit and like no dialogue. We don't know what's going on.
It's never over.
Somebody like here's a typical sounding typical sounding video game trailer to me. It's like a person in a world with a gun. The world is shit. It is dark. A thing is a brewing. Shoot everything to find out what is brewing. Shoot it with your gun. And also, your magic power. You are chosen. You have magic. The world, huge. In fact, way too big. You'll never explore all of it. And even if you did, we didn't hide anything cool there for you to find anyway. Waste your life on this game. Graphics are great. We hope you like those. Coming in October of 2027. It's Dark Afterlife Beneath 5. Pre-order now to get a gun skin that no one will see. I mean, like, that's all it is. But I'm like, I will play the shit out of that. That looks cool. That looks okay to me. Somebody will love that.
That's pretty much it, especially the 2027 date that you nailed there.
Yeah, but it's like, why is the whole internet mad? Like, that game looks fucking sweet. 800 people are working on it. It's going to take a minute because it looks fucking titties. Give it a minute.
Yeah, it reminds me of sports in a lot of ways, where it's just like, we drafted Joe Burrow on the Cincinnati Bengals. Why isn't he good immediately? It's like, you got to give him a second, okay?
Give it a minute, guys. Come on, give it a little bit of a minute.
Guy, he's throwing to A.J. Green and a bunch of scrubs, okay? Like, give the guy a freaking minute,
It's
please.
Like people really think that these game companies are scared of money. Like, they're like, all right, what do they really want? They want Metroid, but what should we do? Not make it? You think we just shouldn't fucking make it? Like, no, maybe we should wait until it's good enough to show them and then show it to them. They're not just like, we're not going to make it because they want it. They're not being mean to you. They're not picking on you.
Oh, yes, they are. They're being mean. They're picking. They're singling out people on Twitter. They're going, hey, XX capital XX COVID 69 X capital XX. You are waiting for Metroid since the N64, and you're not gonna get it.
You're not gonna get it.
Why?
You're not gonna get it.
You're not. You know why? Because you don't deserve it.
Don't.
If you don't deserve it because you're scum. You're a scumbag.
Part of me is like, no wonder these companies were like, maybe they started to phase E3 out a little bit. Like, no wonder they don't want to go on stage in front of people and risk making a blunder.
Yeah.
For these things, because people react so vehemently about. I mean, they're making
stuff that utterly does not matter. I mean, even listen. I understand what you're saying when it comes to like the effort involved in the games, but let's be clear here. We're talking about games.
Exactly.
There's bigger stuff at stake here. I'm in the middle of like a bunch of arguments with some of my friends that are upset that baseball might be canceled.
Oh, come on, guys.
Because
why was baseball uncanceled? Why did we have to have teddy bears in the stands for this?
I understand. Like, you want life to be everybody wants life to be normal again. Okay, like it's just you're okay to feel like that, but the way you feel shouldn't be imposed on the rest of the world sometimes, okay? Your emotions need to just tune out sometimes, all right?
Exactly, man.
They need to take a back seat to what's really happening in the world. How you feel is not the be end and end all of the world. Okay? I feel like I'm cutting a freaking Mongo promo here, but
you're like John Voight in that movie I talked about earlier.
But my God, man, like, just
it's a good point, and I think my whole point is I think that's sort of ruined the way for me. I liked being in the conversation of new stuff.
Going back to the whole like convention. But now
it's so negative. Like you can't.
It's
people
really
can't
negative,
enjoy. Xbox did their showcase and PS5 did their showcase, and I think they were both pretty good. I mean, there's some good games in there. You might not got what you wanted, sure, whatever. There's some shit in there that's confusing. Maybe there's not a lot of gameplay, but like. They're making shit for you. Just give it a minute, and you'll probably like it.
And then you go online, and then you see nothing but just like, this is horrible.
Is it that bad? I play NES games for 10 hours a week. You should see the shit I wait through.
Exactly. I'm like, I just played Lawnmower Man for 4 hours this week.
And
what do you think I want to see?
It wasn't that bad. Deep down, you're like, it's not that bad. But there are people that will look at like the Halo Infinite trailer and be like, this is horseshit. And you're like, this is gold. People, you don't understand how far we've come. Please love this. Even if it's not what you want, it's pretty good. It's still pretty good.
It's pretty freaking good.
I hate people, man. People are a bunch of bastards. But anyway.
Oh, they're a bunch of bastards, and they're going to stay bastards for many years.
Just be. Yeah, we're in a hobby where a group of really smart people try to make fun shit for us, and we just yell at them constantly. It makes no sense. But anyway, I wanted to talk about some games that are coming out that maybe we might like. I'm looking forward to a few games.
Let's talk about the fun games that are coming out. Yeah.
Hell yeah,
I'm
man.
sorry,
now I gotta ask. So you don't play a lot of
no. You have a list of games here, and I know like 2 of them.
Oh,
no,
good.
I know
that's
3
more
of
than
them.
Oh, good. That's one. That's good.
I don't know what Senua's Saga's Hellblade. Okay, I know what Hellblade is, but
Hellblade. So you saw Hellblade a couple years back. They made that. Now I played the first one, and I gotta say,
what dev team is that?
The Ninja Theory, I think.
Okay, all right.
And I usually don't know the answers to these questions, but I think Ninja Theory.
Let me. Okay, yeah. Let me.
And now, and since the first one, they've now partnered with or been bought out by or owned by or in cooperation with Microsoft. So this will be an Xbox exclusive, I believe. I'm not sure on that, but the first one was very interesting. I would say it's the most, and I'm rocking 2 hands full of devil horns right now. I think it's one of the most metal games I've played in a while.
I think I did see that part of the trailer, and
it's pretty cool. Now, I did play the first one, and I have to say, I don't know if I had fun with the first one, but I couldn't stop playing it. Does that make sense? Have you ever had a game where you're like so enthralled by like, what is this? You don't even know if you're enjoying it, but you want to keep going. It's kind of like a scary movie. Like, you're not having fun, but what happens?
I guess that's my best comparison would be like a movie.
Yeah,
or
it's
like
kind
a
of like
book,
that.
where
Like,
it's
mechanically,
just like, I don't know about. Yeah, I don't know about this movie, but like I like Wicker Man from the 70s. Like,
there you go.
Perfect
This
example. Is
incredibly
creepy, but I know it's going somewhere.
Full
So
circle. Good job. I think that's kind of like that. Like it's not gamey in a lot of ways. It's not particularly fun, I don't think. But goddamn, I just could not stop playing it, and it's a really cool story. It's got a lot of cool stuff going for it. Anyway, the sequel, Senua's Saga Hellblade 2, again looks rocking the metal horns, metal AF. I think it looks pretty sweet, and it does have a lot of like hellacious vibes. It's not a terribly hard game. It's very rich in story, I think. So that's what I'm looking forward to because once again, rocking my metal horns, I think it's pretty sweet.
Well, I can't argue with that.
As like a fucking like a metal solo plays out over top of this. Like,
so we're talking. Are we talking like a 3-guitar like melodic Iron Maiden solo?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, definitely. Iron Maiden. That fits it perfectly.
Hell yeah.
Like there is a part in the. This is kind of it's not a story spoiler, but it's a visual spoiler. Once you're toward the end of the first game, you're like floating on like a small boat through a blood river, and there's like hands coming out of skull. Like it's really visually like cool as fuck. Like I really enjoyed it, man. I thought that was cool. The payoff at the end is great. So anyway, that's one I'm looking forward to.
Metalocalypse episode. Damn,
it's pretty sweet. Sweet. The Medium is another one I'm looking forward to.
I'm looking at that now, and
came out in the showcase.
Looks pretty goddamn creepy.
I like creepy.
It's got kind of a it's got that horror vibe for sure.
I like that. I love that, man.
Yeah.
And I think this is one of those sort of investigatory type.
Yes.
One really cool thing about it is like you can use your medium powers and see like before time and after time has passed in the same like overlapped, and that's kind of a cool feature. I'm into that. So I thought that was pretty cool.
This looks like it's on Steam too. Is this going to be on PS4? Because I might want to get, or PS5, I should say, because I might.
I don't think so. I think it was. I think this was shown in the Xbox showcase. So if it does come to something other than Microsoft, I'd be surprised.
Xbox Series X and Windows. Well,
yeah.
All right, because this is a Pearl game for sure.
Oh yeah. Actually, I was thinking.
Investigative and horror stuff is Pearl for sure,
and low action too. It's like it's more investigatory than Twitch. You know, I kind of like that sometimes. It's nice to use my brain rather than my thumbs because sometimes they get drunk.
That's a good way of putting it. I like that.
Yeah, Cyberpunk. I mean, that's one that I think a lot of people are looking forward to. I'm looking forward to that.
That's the Keanu game. Yeah.
Are you looking forward to that at all? Or are you not just tapped out?
I'm looking forward to seeing the final product. Yeah, I can't get excited about like all the demos and all that sort of stuff. I want to see what it is. Like I've seen it for so many years now. I've seen it for so long. I just want to see what it is.
I loved The Witcher 3 to the point that pre-ordered this game just because the same company made it. I've never done that before. I'm usually not that naive.
Yeah.
But I was like, I trust these people. So and it's grown on me as it's gone. Every little bit they show has been great.
It's always really cool when a dev team goes from one dynamic to another, because they did Witcher 3, which is, you got your medieval stuff, and then you're going in the complete opposite direction with, crazy shit with, futuristic stuff. Yeah. With Keanu Reeves. So I'm interested to see how they spin that, if they can pull it off as well, because I know Witcher 3 has been an incredible success. You can delete the mobile games thing, by the way. I think we're running out of time. I'm gonna cut this, but you can cut whatever you want. I don't care. Don't delete the game I'm talking about.
Sorry, I almost did.
I'm just kidding. It's like, I'm in the middle of talking. I need to know the name of the game in case I need to go back and reference it. Here's a fun fact. Pearl is in love with Keanu Reeves. She's like just head over heels with
Oh, man.
Keanu Reeves. Yeah, I got some stiff competition there. It's
So
bad.
that's why you've been running a lot more lately. That makes sense.
Oh, running a lot more and drinking a lot less and drinking a lot
Growing
more
your
water
hair out.
and saying "dude" a lot more and saying "whoa" a lot more.
Yeah,
and
I've noticed it. That's weird. Yeah.
Hopefully she can hear me. Can you hear me, Pearl? I want to bring her in here. Is it okay if I bring her in here?
She's gonna love it. She's gonna be like, "What are you guys fucking doing?"
Can I put this like on mute for a second and bring her in here?
Do what you got to do, man. Yeah.
Okay,
absolutely.
thanks. Pearl has refused my request.
Oh my gosh, she got shut down. That's not. Keanu wouldn't get shut down.
She doesn't know enough about the game, as her excuse. But she loves Keanu. She says that's her husband, and she wants to, be with Keanu and all that sort of stuff.
That's fair. That's fair.
But yeah, I don't know enough about the game, but to rebut that.
All that said, what do you think about? Did you ever play Axiom Verge? I know you're a big Super Metroid fan. Did you play the love letter to it, which I know is a term people hate, but did you play the love letter to it? Axiom Verge 1?
I did play Axiom Verge, and I'm really looking forward to Axiom Verge 2.
Hell yeah.
It looks amazing. I love all the environments. I love the ideas they've come up with. Just the screenshots alone. You know what's funny is that it almost feels like that certain games are taking, certain retro games anyway, are taking influence from each other, because when I look at Axiom Verge 2, I can't help but think of Blazing Chrome for some reason.
Yeah, it's kind of the same palette, right?
Yeah, it's like the same color palette. It's the same, like, design. It almost feels like it's from the same studio. So I don't know if that's just my imagination, but like I'm loving it. Like I freaking like do what you need to do. Like
hell yeah,
I love it. No, I am all over Axiom Verge 2. Bring all of that stuff, like all of it. Like just dump it on my face. Dump it over my head. I'll take a shower in it and all that sort of stuff. So
yeah, make it dirty. No, I'm with you. I'm looking forward to it too, man. I played Axiom Verge. It's a kind of a fun memory because my wife had just had our daughter, and in the whirlwind of early child rearing and having an infant around, sleep schedules are just all over the place. Sometimes we're all just taking turns sleeping, and sometimes when everybody else was asleep, and I was like, so I can just not pay attention to the family for a minute, I was playing Axiom Verge, and it's a memory tied to a lot of sleepless nights. It's a memory tied to a lot of delirium, but it's a good memory because I really fucking love that game, and I think I played through it honestly. It was like 20 hours maybe. I think 2 or 3 days. I mean that's incredible for me. I don't do that. That's not a thing I do. That normally takes me a month, but just because of the circumstance, I had the time. And nothing else really I could do. Couldn't leave the post. And I played through that game. And playing it in one... I wish I had played Super Metroid in a closer... Like, I wish I hadn't protracted it over several days or weeks. Playing a game like that all together, the reward is so much greater. Everything's so much fresher. And I don't know. I really enjoyed it, playing it the way that I did. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to Axiom Verge 2. Tom Happ is just... a one-man show. What a genius. That's incredible.
I don't understand how these people are able to do these games just by themselves. It's, it reminds me of Tobias from Ghost, the band. He's able to just come up with these songs and these arrangements, and I guess the same way applies to video games. Yeah. Where some people
I thought you were going to say Tobias from Arrested Development. I was like, wow. Not quite.
Not quite. No, he blew himself.
We have a couple. He blew himself. What a show. We have a couple listener questions we can go out on. I know we're pushing the time limit here. We can answer them really quickly if you'd like.
Screw the time limit.
Oh, okie dokie. First one here is from Parker. He says, "What's next? What's the future of your channels?" Now, we already talked about you, Snesh Drunk. You're going to do Shred Drunk. and just get ripped as hell and show off your body.
No, I'm not.
What a transformation, though. Can you imagine people that subbed you like in 2017, and then maybe they left YouTube for a bit, and they come back and they're like, what the fuck is this channel now? It's just this guy doing sit-ups all day.
It's just Terrell Owens doing sit-ups in his freaking. Wow, that guy looks different.
Looks a little different. Didn't expect him to. Well, he sounds different than I thought he would, but yeah, that's cool.
Do you want to go first? What do you got queued up?
I honestly think the next and future of my channel is just doing what I'm doing. I don't think I want to change too much. I like the routine that I'm in. I sometimes do think, and I'm inspired always by you. I'm like, is there a list video I can come up with? Is there this I can do? Is there something that's not a game review that I can do? Especially now that I've gotten some subs, and I'm like, maybe I'll get some good feedback. But I also know that I don't have a lot of time. And I haven't really put a lot of thought into it. It's hard to do things out of your routine. So I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing, man. Every year I always go more for the spooky stuff in October. I'm excited for that. So that's something that, it's the end of July now. I've already started working on those. So those are really cool. I love doing that. So that's it, man. Nothing big and, I'm not going to change any formulas or anything. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. What about you, man?
Is it the end of July? Jesus. When did that happen? Oh my God.
Yeah.
Right now I am actually working on by the time you hear this, you'll probably be already having seen and heard a video on F-Zero X for N64. I would like to be able to get into more I guess series that continued on, not necessarily started on Super Nintendo, but continued on from Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
Like, Mega Man X4, or, like I did that with Breath of Fire 3 on PS3.
I could see some like PS1 stuff being sort of in your wheelhouse with some RPGs there that, because you've talked about Chrono Cross a little bit, right?
I did a video on Chrono Cross, and I'm not the biggest fan of that video.
Right.
I mean, the video's fine. Well, maybe the video's not fine. I don't know. But I'm not the biggest biggest fan of the game. God, getting into the sauce here, getting into Trav territory. I'm just kidding. No, I just like the idea of like, oh, here's F-Zero on Super Nintendo. Where did it go from here? Oh, it went to N64 on F-Zero X, and I like that. I would also like to do a overpowered 16-bit athletes part 2, because I got a big response to that on the last one for soccer players, and I'm just like, I had no idea.
Yeah, I bet some guys there with some good speed would just dominate.
Yeah, and there's some guy named Alejo for Brazil. On Ayeho, I guess, or I don't know. I'm gonna butcher these pronunciations. I'm really looking forward to all the corrections, as you can tell. But it's I really like the idea of playing a sports game, and then there's one guy that's always like just overpowered as hell.
Oh yeah,
that you can't contain.
Absolutely, man.
I'd like to get into Sega. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say that's cool. Like I when you did that video the first time, I was like, how many can there be? So the idea of a second one is pretty cool.
I think the second one is going to be a lot of soccer, and I think it's going to be some deep cuts. I think. I don't want to give away too much. I don't want to give away too much, and I think there's going to be some deep cuts there for what do you call it? For overpowered athletes. I don't want to, because I went over the real obvious ones, like Davison on NCAA basketball, or I forget who I went. Hakeem Olajuwon and all that sort of stuff. It's like, all right, of course they're going to be overpowered, but I want to get into some like deeper ones. But I also want to redo Secret of Mana. That is a video that has aged poorly, that I think needs to be redone.
So what about it aged poorly? Like you has your opinion changed or what?
A little bit, yeah. I think it's a little bit of my opinion changed and a little bit of my a little bit of the public's opinion, and or not the public's opinion, but the public's exposure. It was part of the SNES Classic, and it got a re-release, and everybody took a big crap on it. And I'm like, hey, wait a second, this is my Secret of Mana. What are you doing to it? Like, I need to protect my Secret of Mana, but at the same time, like, I understand, like, it's not that great, and I need to, like, kind of address the...
Oh, man, I love that game.
The good... I love it, too. I'm super biased towards it. My brother... It was the first game my brother bought with his own money.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, I'm mega...
Dude,
and I still have his save states on my original cartridge.
Oh, wow. That's incredible. I think that's fun. That's sort of a cool thing. If you can keep that battery going, that's always cool.
Yeah, the battery still works, and yeah, it still says Mike, and he didn't get that far in the game, but I ended up finishing it because Mike is not... I need to finish it with another player other than you.
What a jerk. What a jerk. Your brother sucks.
Oh,
I'm just kidding.
No, it's older brother stuff. That's typical. But no, that's what I got going on. Is just
that's cool, man. I love Secret of Mana because I'm not a big RPG guy. Like, if it weren't for Daria and Super Derek, I wouldn't know shit about most of them.
Really,
but I've tried to play a lot of the important ones, and that was one that's like, oh, I gotta play this one. People are always talking about it, and it was on the cover of Nintendo Power back in the day, and I just didn't have the patience for them growing up, to be quite honest with you. But I played through that a couple years ago, and I fucking loved it. I think it holds up great. Like, as for a first-time player, Secret of Mana might be one of my favorite I mean, it's an action RPG. It's a little different than some of them, but I thought it was great. I mean, it and Earthbound are maybe my 1 and 2 punch for RPGs on the system.
Wow.
That might be I mean, that seems like a very
that's like a very odd 1-2 punch of RPGs.
And that's not a hardcore RPGer's take, right? Like, that's a very that's a casual take. And I think that's fair. I think, but for if you're casual and you're trying to get into RPGs, Earthbound and Secret of Mana are, in my opinion, great jump-in points for both genres on the Super Nintendo.
I think people would disagree with you on Secret of Mana for sure, because I'm hearing a lot of stuff, man, and I'm coming out fist blazing, I'm guns blazing.
Guns blazing. Blaze your fist too. That's okay.
I'm just tired of hearing about it. I'm tired of talking trash. I need to get out and just go out. I'm doing sports cliches at this point, where you just gotta go out, make plays.
Is it the menu? Is it? I mean, what is it that people?
Oh,
it's
the
waiting for the recharge of the weapon. I mean,
that's a big part. Yeah, it's the waiting for the recharge. It's the screen space between where you walk and where the edge of the screen is. That's a big part. And
I mean, it's like the weapon recharge makes it sort of a turn-based RPG. Like,
That's a good point. Yeah, that is a good point.
Give it a minute.
Yeah.
Just give it a second, and then hit him again.
Yeah, that was never an issue with me. Like, it made sense. Like, I was just like, okay, I just have to wait. And some people really get mad at that. I'm just like, why? It's like, I'm fine with that. Okay.
I mean, it's a different mechanic. I didn't mind it. It took some getting used to, but I think it kept me from it made me add. It kept me from just button mashing my way through the fucking game. Like, it made me think about what I was doing, and I like that.
I like your way of putting it. Yeah, that's a very good way of putting it.
I'm just positive about most shit, man. Like, show me a game, and if someone hates it, I'll find something about it to like. Like, I just don't hate a lot of stuff.
What else was there? I think it was the trend. I think one big thing that has going against it is it was originally developed for the Super Nintendo CD peripheral, and so the story had to be kind of like cut in half, basically, and and you can kind of tell when you play through it because the text is so awkward and just
it's a little weird.
Yeah, it's a little weird, and the story is a little wonky, and it's like, okay, fine, but at the same time, it's like, what the hell am I doing? Why am I doing this? But yeah, it's. I really want to dive into that again. I'm looking forward to that. Other than that, that's really all I have on my docket.
Nice. Well, thank you for that question, Parker. And real quickly, Sean asks, what equipment do you use to capture footage and audio I use an Elgato HD60, I think is the name of it, and I transport that back and forth. I have my computer set up with my RetroPie that I use for the random arcade stuff that I get, and I ship it on to my other room to my NES to collect footage right off the old PVM and NES composite. So that's what I use. Nothing too fancy.
I have the exact same thing. The Elgato. What is it?
HD60?
HD60. I forget if it's the S or the 60S or whatever it is. But no, I also have the analog Super Nintendo that has the HD output, which is super helpful for Super Nintendo stuff.
Cool.
And when it comes to arcade stuff, when there's no way to get this, the arcade games other than emulation, then I'm obviously going to use MAME or FB Alpha or whatever emulation output is necessary, that sort of stuff. But it's really bare bones. I do have a FrameMeister to help and a viewing monitor too. I know you've got like 17 viewing 14 viewing monitors over there.
I do look like I run a small intensive care unit. I agree with you. It's kind of ridiculous. My wife also thinks that it's stupid, but I think it's cool. You can't see video games in my house. Yeah, man.
I think it's cool, but I've got the I can't remember what it is, but it's a Sony professional viewing monitor that I use for. Nice. It's really small, and you can carry it very clearly. I just got sick of having big ass freaking,
blurriness. That's the issue.
Yeah, I got real tired of that real quick. So I was just like, I just want a tiny little monitor so I could see, accurately what this game represents. So yeah, it's a Sony PVM. I've got it on my desk, like to my left, right over here, and nice. So my thing can plug in, and my FrameMeister can plug into my computer. Got OBS to record everything, and then I edit everything in Sony Vegas and all that sort of stuff. So yeah,
cool, man.
That's my story.
Very cool. I think that's awesome,
and I'm sticking to it.
The FrameMeister. I mean, what are you, rich or something? What do you got, money? Are those things expensive? I've looked into them, and I'm like, man, it would be cool to have a FrameMeister. Then I Google, and I'm like, it's okay. What I got's okay.
I got the FrameMeister way back in oh man, 2011. It's almost 10 years old. There's probably better models now. This was a million years ago when I first got it. I was just like, well, this is what you need to do this, so I might as well get one now.
Yeah, they're pretty cool pieces of hardware, yeah.
Yeah, I forget when I got it, but it was a really long time ago.
Cool. All right, well, I guess that pretty much wraps up the episode. I don't know that we even had a running theme through here. We talked a lot about getting fit. We chatted a little bit about sports movies, and then all kinds of stuff. So good luck figuring out how to title this episode. But
thanks, I'll need it.
Yeah, thanks to everyone who submitted questions and all that stuff. It's been a fun episode. So that's been another Drunk Friend podcast. You can always reach out to us at drunkfriendpodcast@gmail.com if you would like to submit a question or an anecdote to have it read here on the show, or maybe you just want to share something. We always read those emails. And if you like podcasts, check out the others on the network at polykill.com. In addition to Drunk Friend, we have Tales of the Lesser Medium, which makes fun of all kinds of video game narratives. We're working on the second season of that right now. And Polykill, of course, with myself and my co-host, Jake.
And hey, if you want to simply help out this show in particular, like if you're bored, like you're just sitting there, you're just listening to this, then just remember to rate and review us wherever you listen. Like if you're on Apple Podcasts or Orange Podcasts or Pineapple Podcasts or whatever it might be. I don't know. I'm old. I don't know anything. Like old people
Some guy's
jokes.
Like, do I have a login for Pineapple Podcast? I thought I did. I have to check my email.
What do I do? How do I log in?
We're on Twitter as well. I'm at Trav Plays Games. Alex is, of course, at SNESDrunk.
And we want to give our usual shout out to Coolor. Listen, Coolor is the man, and he gave us our podcast music. The song you heard at the beginning is called Electric Star Bounce, and you can find a link to more of his music on the Buzzsprout podcast page. And we also want to give a shout out to Josh Leslie, who made our cold, crisp, refreshing logo. Big shout out to Josh Leslie, because that guy is the man. Like, he made us the best freaking logo. Like, what a guy.
It's a great logo, man. I get thirsty every time. It's responsible for most of our bad episodes, to be honest. I look at our logo and I'm like, I could chug a few before we record, and then look what happens. Be sure to catch us all on YouTube, and thanks for listening.
And we hope you have a great rest of your day. Cheers.